Okay. So you think, was it like something that was going on in the building? Was like there was some toxic stuff, or it just had a bad energy? Was it?
I suppose it was really related to air conditioning and just the structure of each
Well,
of the officers. Yeah.
yeah, there's some of that too, especially when they started first building those self-contained buildings, that maybe didn't have enough, that the air was just all inside the building, and maybe it wasn't, there was some toxic stuff going on. In our old house, I think it was just energy. And then where I worked, they built a new student center, and I never liked that. It's a brand new building, but everybody I talked to didn't. It just had bad energy. Something about that. Maybe where they built it or the way they built it. I don't know. And it had all kinds of issues too. For a new building, there was a lot of problems electrically, and the stairs they didn't build it very well, but the energy was just off there. And the old student center everybody loved, and it was just like home for a lot of those kids. Some people are like, oh, I don't know. It's funny. I think it's like buildings have their own personality and energy, or like human beings or something. It's funny.
They're endowed by people, by the energy people lay down in them over the years and decades, I think. And it kind of shapes them.
Yeah. Like that bar in Wilder, Kentucky. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
Bobby Mackey's.
Yeah. But they're tearing that down. It's really old. And like I said, it was supposed to be haunted and everything. They're tearing it down and rebuilding something right there. But gosh, it was on a lot of shows about, it used to be, what was it? Did they butcher pigs or something there? I can't remember. All this stuff.
I think it was a butcher shop at first, and then it became a bar later on. But there was some pregnant woman who was there, and her husband cut her head off and dumped her body there on the site of the place, and they say her ghost still haunts it. And there's a well or something on that building too, where I guess all these satanic cults were attracted to the place when it was a butcher shop, because there was all this animal blood there, and they'd use it in rituals. So the place was kind of, if energy can be tainted, at least from our point of view, it would appear that maybe it was tainted there.
It got really kind of commercial there for a while. I was there at that bar because my husband went down there to play. He played in a band and he went down there a couple times. And it's just really a dark old bar. But I didn't feel like I was scared or anything. But I knew then, its reputation. But I didn't see anything. But yeah, it had kind of a weird feel to it. So, but I've seen like around just in the area I've lived in, it's like there'll be a business that'll come and into a place, and it's like they never survive there. And it's not like it's a bad place. There's businesses around there that are thriving, but nobody seems to be able to make anything work in like this building or a house or something, and then eventually it gets torn down because, like I said, it just never seems to thrive. Something's wrong. Something's off. So I always think that's weird. Now, have you ever heard of that? There's a Catholic priest that he does exorcisms. His name Father Rehill. He is he's totally against boards, and I don't know about numerology, but I would assume he probably is, because he thinks that's how people can get possessed, if you believe in that kind of thing. He definitely does, because he's one of the priests that can be, there's not that many in America, but he can perform.
I think he thinks. I've seen some videos by him. He thinks possessions and oppressions and obsessions like from the demonic world are up now because more people are into like that new age, what he calls new age stuff. I mean, it's really not new, but he thinks it opens like doorways for demonic takeovers. Come on in, Tommy T-Bone Davis.
Now, Father Rehill was talking about how Hollywood people have, he thinks that a lot of them are like Beyonce and stuff, kind of sold their soul to the devil or something. I'm sure you guys have heard about that, but that's his personal thing. But
Hollywood directors are the Satan's spawn.
yeah. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
All right, good deal. Good deal.
How are you?
I'm not too bad.
That's good.
All right. What are we talking about now?
Well, we were talking about like cursed objects and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Some of the things like, well, we were talking about Robert the Doll in Key West, and there's a chair we were talking about, but there's also James Dean's car, and I mean, we're open thing though.
They have not found James Dean's car since he wrecked it. They never did.
Now they thought some parts of it or something were
a couple parts and all that. Yeah,
supposedly got killed, or I did see
yes,
that.
ma'am.
Yeah, so they never did find all of it.
Not the whole car. Yeah, nope.
And so they're acting like now that the parts of the car or something are like cursed.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, no. Surprisingly, tell you the truth, one guy, he bought a piece of the car, and he died like 45 days later, or something like that.
But, I was trying to remember that. Yeah,
yeah. It's crazy. I'm a big history buff. I love history. I love it. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, yep.
So and we were kind of talking about it. Like, I don't know if you've had any personal experiences with any objects that you brought into your home or anything like that. I was talking about one that I brought home from work, an artifact, and a lot of bad things seemed to start happening when I did that. So I took her back to work.
Oh, wait! You said took her back. What do you mean?
He was like it was like a statue. She was made out of teak wood, and she would stand her up in a corner. She was like an artistic piece, African art. And so I took her back. I worked in a center, a diversity center, where I took her back to the center because I didn't want her in the house anymore.
Yeah. Well, I had one time. I don't know if this was a dream or what it was. I was on my couch. I was sleeping on my couch, and I had this evil spirit, and it come from hell or something. It had to have, and it's grabbing my legs, and it keeps pulling me, and I was kicking, and I finally kicked it off me. I says, get out of here, go away. And then I woke up. I don't know. It could have been a dream. It could have been, I hope nothing bad. Like I'm going to be dragged to hell,
Well, so was anything going on in your life at that time that maybe
Well, yeah, my mother just died,
oh,
and and I mean they had nothing to do with it. I mean, but my father just passed away about 4 months ago, and that but that happened way back and kind of like in between, you know.
yeah.
Um,
Well, sometimes when your energy, when you're in grief or just despair and stuff, that's when you
right.
have some entities come in. From red.
Yeah, sometimes they'll try to feed on the energy of your grief or
Right.
things, and it makes them more powerful.
Okay.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's kind of like a food source for demonic entities or whatever, or evil spirits.
Yeah, but it was so real. It was so real. Real. I mean, oh my God, it was so real. And he had big bat wings, and uh, yeah, it was horrible. It was really bad. That was a bad experience. I think it was something just wanting to play around with me, and then it realized that I'm more of a spiritual person,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't I don't believe I do believe, but I don't believe, I don't keep it in me that I believe in like spirits or anything like that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean that's the only way that I can explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time I've ever been messed with,
That's
other than in my dreams,
yeah.
and uh,
Sometimes things kind of seem to come in dreams too. And
oh
you're not sure, but I think they're real a lot of times. I'm
yeah, absolutely. Right after I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
but right after I lost my mom, this was back in 2011, and I had just lost my mother, and it was real sudden and everything, and she come to me in my dreams, and we was at the crossroads at lights that were blinking and all that. She said everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be okay. Okay, and everything's gonna be all right. And she gave me a hug and gave me a kiss, and then walked away. And then she went away, and that that was the last. mm, that was the last time I see my mother. And I woke up and I was in tears. But that was the greatest thing.
But
And
I I think she was probably, she's just trying to reassure
telling
you.
you something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was it.
Wow. Wow.
The
Oh,
same thing
oh
happened
yes.
when my cousin passed away. He came to me in a dream and hugged me, and he came to my uh, uncle and aunt in a dream and hugged them too. So so
That,
yeah, I've absolutely had a very, very similar experience.
well, I've had a lot of death around my family lately, and I'm still cleaning out my dad's house. My dad just passed, and I haven't got nothing from my dad yet. And he was never a believer of the afterlife or anything like